So now we know. Now we know why President Trump and his administration got so freaked out when Democratic lawmakers, military and intelligence veterans who are now in Congress, posted that video reminding American service members that they don't have to follow illegal orders. Now it makes sense why that caused such a freak out, right? I mean, it was sort of, on its face, a weird thing to get upset about. Not being obliged to follow illegal orders, that's like, you know, the sun rises in the east. It's a very normal thing. It's a statement of law and of the basic ethos of the U.S. military. I mean, everybody in the U.S. military, every officer, every enlisted person, everybody is taught that you don't follow illegal orders. You can't follow illegal orders. You must not follow illegal orders. So why are these guys freaking out that members of Congress just reiterated that one very true, longstanding, non-controversial thing? Oh, now we know that's why they were freaking out about it. Because now we know that in September, just weeks ago, Donald Trump's defense secretary and former Fox News Weekend co-host Pete Hegseth reportedly gave a verbal order to kill everybody on board a boat in the Caribbean that was suspected of drug smuggling. It's according to the Washington Post, citing a person with direct knowledge of the operation. When a live drone feed showed two survivors of the attack on that boat clinging to the wreckage, a second missile was then fired at them to kill them, so as to comply with Hegseth's order that nobody should be left alive, even once they were shipwrecked and floating in the ocean, clinging to debris and obviously a threat to no one. Now, when I say this is a textbook example of an illegal order, I mean that literally. As Ryan Goodman from Just Security and others have since pointed out, in the Law of War Manual at the Defense Department, in the section on refusing to obey illegal orders, the quintessential example the manual gives of an illegal order that must be refused is, quote, for example, orders to fire upon the shipwrecked would be clearly illegal. Clearly illegal. That is what the senior military lawyer at Southern Command reportedly concluded about the Caribbean boat strikes. He was sidelined by the Trump administration after expressing that view, according to NBC News. The commanding officer of Southern Command stepped down from his post early, something almost unheard of. That also happened reportedly after he voiced concerns about whether these strikes were illegal. The UK, our closest intelligence ally, reportedly believes these strikes are so illegal that the UK has stopped sharing intelligence with us that might help the Trump administration carry out these strikes.
We finally understand why the Trump administration has been so panicked lately and why they reacted so excessively to the Democrats and former military personnel's simple reminder that you don't have to obey illegal orders. It turns out the incident wasn't just a political spat. There was a chilling accusation lurking in the background. It is alleged that Trump's defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, ordered the killing of defenseless people who had survived a shipwreck in the Caribbean and were clinging to debris in the middle of the sea. Yes, you heard right. Shoot survivors from a sinking ship. Before we delve into this issue and the bigger picture behind it, please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel to support independent journalism. There is a rule taught to every soldier in the U.S. military, ingrained in their minds from basic training. Illegal orders are not obeyed. This is a military ethic as clear and indisputable as the sun rising in the east. However, according to a Washington Post report, Hegseth disregarded this fundamental rule and ordered a second missile strike on the survivors, who were already incapacitated and posed no threat to anyone. This is precisely the example given in the Law of War Handbook as absolutely illegal. Senior military lawyers at Southern Command tried to say stop, but what did the Trump administration do? Of course, it silenced these conscientious voices and removed them from their posts. The situation has become so dire that even our closest intelligence ally, the UK, has now stopped sharing information with the US. Why? Because they fear that the intelligence they provide will be used by the Trump administration in such illegal executions and possible war crimes. The situation has changed so much that even Republicans in the House of Representatives could not remain silent and began to cooperate with Democrats in the investigation. The fact that these two sides, which normally wouldn't even exchange greetings, have united to investigate the Trump administration's actions clearly shows the seriousness of the situation and the fracture in Washington. Let's recall the supposed justification for these operations, the fight against drugs. The Trump administration portrayed Venezuela as a massive narcotics threat to the U.S., bringing tensions in the region to the brink of war. But stop and look at how absurd this picture is. On the one hand, you are blowing up suspicious boats in the Caribbean, saying, "We are fighting drugs." And on the other hand, you are preparing to pardon the former president of Honduras, who was convicted of smuggling hundreds of tons of cocaine into the United States. Why? Because that man is from Trump's favorite political camp. This hypocrisy slaps us in the face, revealing that the issue is not really about public health or drugs, but entirely about an arbitrary approach to governance. Democratic leader Adam Smith of the House Armed Services Committee also makes a very apt observation. The whole thing is about Trump's personal power and ego. Trump thinks of Latin America as his personal backyard, as if we were living in the 19th century. If you don't kneel to him, like Venezuela, you are declared an enemy and targeted with missiles. However, if you appeal to his fantasy of being a strong leader, as in the case of Honduras, it doesn't matter that you are an international criminal. Just like abandoning Ukraine to Russia's mercy, foreign policy here is shaped not by American interests, but by Trump's personal friendships. Let's also take a moment to look at the man at the helm of this operation, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. He knew very well how to strike a tough guy pose on Fox News screens for years, talking about military discipline. But when things went wrong, and it became clear that his orders constituted war crimes, what did he do? He immediately tried to shift the blame onto the commanders under him, Admiral Bradley. Does stepping aside and saying, "It wasn't my decision," fit with the military leadership ethos he so often praised? A real commander takes responsibility. He doesn't throw his subordinates under the bus. Now Congress will scrutinize those drone images and the chain of command, and the mask of these false heroics will fall. This incident is not just an allegation by opponents, it is a cry from within the system. Even Hegseth's own civilian staff are so horrified by what they have heard that they are considering resigning en masse, because there are irreversible, very serious legal terms floating around, such as war crime and murder. Former military prosecutors are warning clearly. Those who gave these orders and those who carried them out could be tried in international courts. The real reason for the panic in the White House corridors, the clamor of, "Why are they attacking us?" is precisely this fear. They are aware of the magnitude of their crimes and lawlessness, and as the day of reckoning approaches, the panic grows. In fact, all these events show that America is undergoing a fundamental test, the rule of law or the arbitrary rule of one man. Our military swears an oath to the Constitution, not to an individual. The Trump administration, however, is attempting to transform the military into its own personal militia force that disregards the law. If these unlawful executions and illegal orders go unpunished, we will lose not only our international reputation, but also the democratic values that define us. The investigation launched by Congress is not just about a sunken ship. It is an effort to save the state's decaying institutions and the honor of the military. As a result, we are going through a very rare and equally dangerous period where even Republicans are siding with Democrats, saying this is too much. At a time when political polarization is so high, the unity of the two sides proves the gravity of the situation. We will continue to pursue the truth and hold the administration accountable. We will not allow these injustices to be dismissed as old news and swept under the rug. If you want these analyses to continue and the truth to be spoken, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next broadcast.